tuned in to United Football Media. Tell me about it. We are back and better than ever. The number one wraparound show for the number one spring football league, brought to you by the number one spring football media conglomerate, the United Football Media. Celebrating what was a lucky week 7, lucky number 7, because man, there was a lot of great football. It was an amazing night for the league on Saturday evening. Some clinching, some funny personal stuff for this here show because of some of the things that we started off the year doing. But we have to start off with a marquee event that happened for the league. Amazing. It was amazing all around. St. Louis, Birmingham, Saturday evening. Excellent game. Birmingham triumphs in the end, 30-26. Not only do we have a pretty decent crowd. Good job, Birmingham. You beat the German teams for the first time this year. Still didn't get that whole lower bowl opened up, but you know we'll take it as we can get it down there, and it just means more country. They get the win, 30-26. Good crowd, back and forth game, perfect time. It's on the big network. I expect a big viewership number. And not only that, but I think those of us who picked the Battlehawks, I think the Battlehawks fans, and I think the Battlehawks in that locker room, most importantly, feel as if a kind of dirty hit is what completely swung the game at the very end and put it to the point of no return. It's hard enough to beat a great team like Birmingham with your full roster intact. It is just about impossible to do it with a quarterback who's now playing on one leg. And that is what happened from a late and low hit. I'm not saying there was any ill intent or that guy's a dirty player. I'm saying that's about as dirty of a hit as you're going to get in the modern game. It's late. It's way low. It busted the dude's ankle. He was immobile for the rest of the game. That made it virtually impossible that the Battlehawks were going to come back and get back out of this thing. Phenomenal game overall. And with everything I just laid out, I think everybody feels like, it's a perfect setup for a sequel. I was telling somebody I haven't seen a better setup for a sequel since Star Wars. And when its sequel does happen, it's going to be in front of 50,000 plus in a championship game in St. Louis, looking for revenge. All of those things played out amazingly for the league. Just a rundown, obviously, like we always do, individual players. Our guy, once again, Adrian Martinez, almost 300 yards total rushing, passing, and running, 3 total touchdowns, was about to have a 4th long touchdown sometimes it's your best guys who let you down. For our man, Deon Kane, drop that long pass. Exquisite game by him. Powerful physical offense for the Stallions, still did their thing, asserted themselves against one of the best defenses in the league. Excellent stuff all around. Axe, tell me about it.
Yeah, great performance by Adrian Martinez. 260 passing yards, 64% completion percentage, spread the ball out very well. Just great performance, great defense, good intensity. And Birmingham showed why they're the best team in the league. I want to give no shout out to Coach, what's his name? Coach Sam Beckham, I think his name was, on Twitter. Throughout the whole week, he was just in everybody's mentions, telling everybody how the Battlehawks were going to just obliterate the Stallions. But this is definitely a championship game preview. These teams will meet up again, in my opinion. Our guy, Hakeem Butler, had another strong game, 7 receptions for 89 yards. But it just wasn't enough balance. The Stallions defense, them and the Panthers arguably had the best defense in this league. They just, shut the run game down completely, didn't let them get off, and made it hard on AJ McCarron. Stallions executing, doing what they do, the best team in the league for a reason. I'm just really impressed with Adrian Martinez. The fact that him and Corral was going back and forth, and the fact that he separated himself, and this team has an identity of him being such a great dual threat quarterback. So I'm very impressed with the Stallions have going on. Great on offense and defense. They'll be tough to beat. But shout out to the Battlehawks for keeping it close. A 4-point game in Birmingham, that's an impressive showing. So they did show they can play with them, but you have to execute 100% against a team like the Stallions.
Tay didn't work out for our prediction, but like I said, I think I think there's room to sit here and say might have been a different story had AJ McCarron not got hurt at the end.
Yeah, like it just proves to why Adrian Martinez, he's just the best player in the league. Like MVP is his. I mean, had a great game. He had 60 rushing yards, 230 passing yards, like 3 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over. It's hard to beat that. Like that he was MVP already for me last week, but this week right here, beating the second best team in the league, that just solidified it right there. I mean, he spread the ball out. He hit every receiver. Deion King, like you said, he dropped a touchdown. He still had one himself. Kevin Austin, he had another touchdown, 40-yard catch. So, yeah, the Stallions came to play. I feel like both teams came to play. Like no one looked like they didn't belong out there. It was evenly matched. Hakeem Butler, of course, he came to play. That's who I think is the best receiver in the league. Just wasn't enough. I feel like maybe if the Battlehawks could run the ball a little bit more. In some weeks they can, but this week it just wasn't there for them. They got rushing touchdowns, but
Yeah, what's
just like
crazy is Jacob Sailors had an awesome game. He had 3 overall touchdowns, but the
yeah,
average yard per play was just not
yeah,
there
it
to help
just
the offense be as smooth as it
right.
usually is.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they were, I would say they were good because they scored touchdowns on the ground. If they were great running the ball, feel like that would help the offense out a little bit more, and they could have won the game. And then AJ McCarron, he didn't have his best game. Like this is probably his
No.
worst game this season.
Yeah.
He's one of the best quarterbacks in this league, but this was one to forget for him. I
Well,
mean,
in all respect, I'm not. He had a bad game, but that's the Stallions defense had a great game.
they did, yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
definitely did, yeah. I mean, like I definitely want to see this rematch again, and I would go with the Battlehawks again. I think they would get their number second time. That's usually how it goes.
yeah,
So yeah, this is a great game for me. This definitely lived up to what we thought, though.
yeah. Earlier this week, I did polar opposites here on the United Football Media. Subbed in for the guys, and I brought that up that in most cases when 2 great teams play each other, it's usually 1-1. Usually, the team that wins the first game doesn't win the second game.
Right.
Add to that, like I said, that McCarron got hurt down the stretch, and the second game is going to be in St. Louis in front of a ton of fans. I would probably pick the Battlehawks again too. It is what it is. Speaking of our favorite players and our favorite teams, I earlier on this week, I was on polar opposites. I was talking about this. I said, every time the Panthers have a chance to show that they are among the top tier, every time they get that opportunity against one of those other top tier teams, they fail and they fail miserably. That was not the case today, as the Panthers not only went in and beat DC in their own house, but they laid kind of a whooping on them. Now, DC kind of got it pulled together in the second half, but the first half, the Panthers were absolutely running all over the DC defenders. Things got out of control pretty quick. Defenders never came back. Michael Colburn, 16 carries, 137 yards, almost 9 yards a carry. Wes Hill's contributing to almost 4 yards a carry on the ground. Bryce Perkins brought an interesting layer dynamic to the quarterback position for them. 85% completion, mostly short stuff, but also had the running capability, also put in the running aspect to this offense. So again, very interesting. Our guy Kai Nakua all over the place, almost 10 tackles. Breland Speaks. Yeah, shake your head. Yes. Utterly smoked. He smoked Jordan Tiamu late in the third quarter. Just destroyed. Incredible hit, incredible sack, dominant performance. And then Jake Bates answering questions, hitting from 50 plus, outside, outdoors, on the grass. I think this is it. The Panthers have proven that they belong up in whatever tier you want to put them in. This was a whooping for the most part. All the questions have been answered. It looks like this coaching staff is finally accepting what this offensive line is good at. And they have been doing great in the run game. Love it for the Panthers. DC might be just about done. Great game for the Panthers. Tay, tell me about it.
I don't know how the Panthers are winning without EJ Perry, and they're still getting
It's
it done.
crazy.
They've been through a
Yeah.
lot of quarterbacks, and they're still getting it done. Yeah, like the Panthers dominated on the ground. Like that's like I say it every single week. I'm going to continue to say it. That's how you win games. Like if you can dominate on the ground, like it's hard to stop because then you can play action. It just opens up so much more for the offense. Like if you can run and pass the ball, like Panthers came to play, and I feel like without the 70-yard bomb to Ty Scott, I mean, it looks even worse. It honestly looks even worse. The Panthers are a good team. Like they are right there with the Battlehawks. You could say. I think they're a little bit below them, but they're they could be in the same conversation as them. I mean, it's just impressive to me. They're winning with multiple quarterbacks. Like
Shows how solid the rest of the team. And you say they're right below the Battlehawks, but we got to remember they beat the Battlehawks.
they did.
So
They
they're
did.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did. And yet it's over for the defenders. They lost their quarterback. It's over. So they're not who they were last year. I don't know what happened, but yeah, they're just not that same team. Like they'll probably finish 5-5 or something like that. But
I mean, we're 7 weeks in, and it's still just ugly as sin on offense.
yeah,
Putrid.
they're not that same team.
Just a mess to watch. Axe.
Yeah.
So, about this game, Michigan's defense, like I said earlier, they're up there with the Stallions. Like the chaos they cause, the pressure they get consistently. They knocked out 2 quarterbacks. It wasn't just Jordan Tiamu. DeAndre Francois, for whatever
only
reason,
lasted a few plays. Yeah.
he tried doing a quarterback draw and he messed up his knee.
Yeah.
And then they had their 3rd string quarterback out there. Then they knocked out their number 1 receiver in Kelvin Harmon.
Yep.
So it was just tough, man. Like it was just knocking dudes out there. Just the way they control things, great special teams, great defense, great running game. And props to their coaching staff to have 4 different quarterbacks because Brian Lewerke got 13 pass attempts in this game too. So they've had 4 different quarterbacks with Perry, Danny Etling, Brian Lewerke, and then with Perkins. So to have the record they had 5-2 with 4 different quarterbacks, that's impressive. That's a credit to the coaching staff. So shout out to the Panthers. Great defense. They have a couple guys that's going to get NFL calls on their defense straight up.
Do you think DC is done?
Oh, DC's 100% finished. Like, especially if Tiamu is gone, even though he hasn't been that impressive, he looks way better than McClendon. We didn't get to see what Francois can do. And the fact that they got a combined -6 rushing yards from their running backs, that's unacceptable. Yeah, you got your leading rusher had 28 yards on the end around. That's crazy.
He was a wide receiver. Yeah, that's bad.
-6? Like, no, unacceptable.
We'll see if they clip this out on with the Alex and Webb DC Defenders pod here on the United Football Media and for coverage of the Panthers. Of course, it's the PAWD. My man FBI Tugboat helped me out on that Polar Opposites. We called it Solar Opposites last week. Please check that out. I'm sure he'll be in a very celebratory mood this week because we kind of agreed that the Panthers got to show us they're in this top tier before we can start picking them faithfully in those situations, and they absolutely did that. I missed it in the excitement on the last one. If you want that Battlehawks, what's going to happen going forward, I'm sure our man Noah on Battle Talk here on the United Football Media is going to cover that. He's in the afternoon right after you watch us on Mondays. And then, of course, Buck and Scout, they're already been tooting their horn all over the place on social media. Stallions run. I'm sure they'll be kicking up their heels, feeling really good about winning the game off of a dirty hit. That's how people get down there in SEC country. I'm just doing I'm just stirring it up a little bit. Stallions are a great team. They did a great job. So check those pods out for individual in-depth coverage of these games that we're talking about. Oh, it's a shame that True isn't going to be here to the predictions segment, because this is a full circle moment for this show. If you recall, one of the first things we ever got on here and talked about was how our man, the Captain Brandon, predicted that this Memphis Showboats Arlington Renegades game would be easy. It'd be an easy game. Well, guess what? It was an easy game for the Renegades, because they put belt to cheeks, dropping touchdowns all over the place on this hapless, done for, cooked. It is the ultimate irony that this game, that our guy who we love, Brandon, was on here saying was going to be easy, just a footnote on their way to the championship playoffs, was actually the game that made it so the Showboats were the first team eliminated from playoff contention in the whole UFL this season. What a shocking turn of events. I didn't think, of course, we talked about it when we began. I said, I don't really see what the big deal is with this Showboats team. Somebody please explain it to me. But I didn't think it was going to be this bad. And it has gotten real bad. They have been the first team eliminated. Arlington finally showing what we thought that they were going to be all along, and what they have been so close to being in almost every game. They finally pull it off. Luis Perez has a masterclass game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 85% completion, just ridiculous. Taking them apart, doing whatever he wants. Davion Smith finally shows up. Is the running back that we think he can be. 14 carries, 100 yards, 7 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. And Sal Cannella finally showing up, being what I believe is the best tight end in the UFL. 9 catches, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's all a little bit too little too late, but we knew this is what this Renegades team really was. And I think that we knew deep down, this is what this Showboats team really was. I don't know about getting whooped every week, getting knocked out of the playoffs first. This is what they was. But it was an easy game, and it wasn't in the way some people were predicting. Axe, Arlington, finally, getting all that frustration. What was it on the clumps, the grandmother? 35 years, all that pressure. Woo! Make your head blow off. That's what happened in that game. Ooh, I almost just said the F word. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thing is, with the Renegades, like, it's been tough. They've had 4 games that's been single-digit wins. I mean, single-digit losses, right? So they've been right there, especially with some of the best teams. Like, they just lost to the battlehawks. They lost to the Panthers by a point. Like, they've been right there. Perez, he leads the league in passing yards, so maybe I was a little bit too harsh when I called for his benching a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't been on him, but they finally put together a complete game. And the Showboats, shout out to Daywood Davis. He's still playing at a high level, despite having like multiple quarterbacks and the team not being good. He had 7 catches for 89 yards. He's probably going to get the opportunity out of anybody on Memphis. But, whew, looking pretty rough for them, man. We had players tagging us saying we was underrating them, didn't know what we were talking about and all that. So, y'all are the worst in the league, and y'all got smoked by a winless team. So, hey, it looked like we're not wrong.
We haven't heard from him since.
Yeah, and then the thing is, I saw something. I hope it's not true. I respect Memphis. I listen to Memphis hip hop. I'm a Memphis guy. But I heard they haven't had great attendance, and other teams from other cities are potentially looking to take that team from them. So that combined with this record, I don't know, man. Like, I saw something like Orlando wants a team and a couple other cities. So I don't know. They better tighten up.
Tay, tell me about it.
First off, somebody needs to check on Brandon. Man, I used to see him on my Twitter feed, hyping this team up. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in a while.
He's going to be over there on the captain's log. I'm going to click on that thumbnail so fast because I want to
I'm
do a wellness check. I want to make sure it's him when the thing pops up.
But
because if it's not, we got problems.
Yeah, this was domination. I mean, you don't lose to the Renegades by this much. I mean, the game was over at halftime. They're just running it up. Everyone scoring touchdowns. They had 2 receivers with multiple touchdowns. They were able to run the ball. They had a 100-yard rusher. He had 2 touchdowns. Like this is the Renegades team we thought they were gonna be. But it's too late in the season now, for this. But this is what we were saying last week. I seen some people in the comments. They were saying like, if you're 0-5, you're still 0-5, which is a bad team, which is true. But this is what we were talking about. Like, kind of seeing this potential in this Renegades team. But yeah, I don't know. The Showboats, they weren't ready. They weren't ready. They weren't ready in the first half. They weren't ready in the second half. Like, they didn't belong in the same field as them. Like, the Renegades were just on a completely different level. I don't know. I don't know what the Showboats do at quarterback from here. They had 2 quarterbacks. I don't know. It's really rough for the Showboats. I thought the Showboats would be way better than this. Like, this is just sad.
I got a question about the Renegades though. Like with the injury to Tiamu and DC, do the Renegades catch DC in the standings? They played the end of the season.
I mean, San Antonio looked like dog doo-doo today and barely got out a win.
That defense.
They do have a good defense, but that offense is a mess, man. I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna fix my lips to let the words escape my mouth of what I'm thinking right now. But I'm just gonna say DC and San Antonio looked terrible today. We've known Arlington is a decent team. DC, I don't think they're mathematically eliminated yet. I'm just throwing out some facts. I'm just throwing out some facts. You don't know what? I'm not even making a claim. I will not say it, but I'm putting facts out there into the universe.
Arlington already played the tough teams, I think.
Yeah, but DC has the Showboats in week 9. Like, there's no way they lose that. Like, that's the easy game right there. And then Arlington plays they play the Battlehawks later in the year. It's not gonna happen.
That's a little tough. Never mind.
Well,
I'm looking at the trajectory of the team. That's why I was like, maybe, but Battlehawks out.
In any case, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a celebratory mood over there on Hellraisers. I cannot wait for this episode this week. I like that show a lot. You will too if you're watching this. Check it out here on United Football Media. And I am excited for that episode this week. Putting belt to booty. Big win, Arlington Renegades. Last game of the week. Man, this was we here at United Football Media and everybody else out there listen to this who watch these games. Some dedicated football fans, brothers and sisters, because it was not the most beautiful contest down there. Houston and San Antonio. We have bringing it. We brought it up 2 weeks ago, and we said, "Hey, is this Dormady thing a problem?" I'm kind of starting to wonder if it's the problem. And then last week we said, "This is a problem. This is officially a problem." Yes. This week, the San Antonio coaching staff agreed with us. They pulled Dormady. They put in Stanford quarterback legend Kevin Hogan, who, by the way, I do like as a prospect. Always have. Put him in. He did decent. Both teams, it was a rock fight all the way into the fourth quarter. The run game, even they were trying, but the Roughnecks were shutting it down. John Lovett didn't really get much done, under 3 yards of carry. And it turns out in the very end, the Brahmas outlast the Roughnecks, get an awesome 51-yard field goal to win the game from their kicker they just signed into the season after destroying broke his neck. So a win is a win is a win. It was bowling shoe ugly. I think I'm interested to see the squad with Kevin Hogan. Great defensive performance as per usual. Questions surrounding the Brahmas, but I think the arrow is a little bit more up than it was with Dormady because that was just not working out. Tay, tell me about it.
The Brahmas got the win. I know they miss Chase Garbers. I know they do.
Boy,
man.
Yeah.
It just looks so much better, like And I kind of had a feeling about Quentin Dormady. Like it always goes like that. The backup always has a nice, first game, and you think, okay, it's he can hold up. But then as the weeks go on, it gets harder. Teams are watching more film on you. They know your
Right.
tendencies, and then it starts to look like this. And the Brahmas, I mean, they still got it done. Like the run game wasn't really there. Like they didn't pass well as a team, but I guess they won off the field goal. Like I guess you could say this was a defensive game. Like it was just one of those games. Like and the Roughnecks didn't play good either. So it was a battle of the mid. I'm not gonna be honest. It was battle of the mid, but Brahmas just, they had the ball last and hit the field goal at the end. But the Brahmas definitely maybe Kevin Hogan can hold out, for the remainder of the season, but they have to do something because I do think the Brahmas are a good team, but like they need to figure out this quarterback situation before the playoffs start, because if it's this, I don't know. I don't know how far they can go with this. Yeah, and the Roughnecks. I mean,
What happened today? This ain't gonna get it done against the battlehawks. I'll
it's
tell you
not.
that.
It's
Hell
not.
no.
Yeah, and then to the Roughnecks case, the Roughnecks they're just planning. They're just playing to week 10. I don't. They're just trying to get through the season. It's really and another team. Thought the Roughnecks would be a little better than this. I didn't think they would have one win this late in the season. Like they have some good players. They really do, but
You have a lot of good players. Oh yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, man. This just another team that's just disappointing to me. Like I didn't think they would be this bad. Like it just looks like they're playing just to get to week 10. Just prepare for next year, honestly.
Axe, tell me where the arrow is pointed for these Brahmas.
Well, shout out to the Brahmas defense. Like before I get started with
Yeah.
anything discussing the offense, Jordan Mosley, 10 tackles, elite safety. He's going to get his opportunity in NFL. He's getting a camp invite for sure. He leads the team in tackles as a safety. Jordan Williams, once again, flying around all over the place. And also, I don't want to mispronounce his name, Tavante Beckett. He was
Oh, yeah.
flying everywhere too. So they got 3 defenders that was holding him in the game. The fact that San Antonio was able to win this game with 4 turnovers and their offense wasn't really clicking like that, that just shows that their defense is elite. I will go with Kevin Hogan. I've seen enough from Dormady to show that he ain't got it. So I would roll with Kevin Hogan the rest of the season, see what happens. They got a great receiving core. Like Kirkland still was able to get 40 yards, even though he wasn't targeted heavy. He was able to make a couple of big catches. So yeah, I think San Antonio's still in pretty good shape, but roll with Hogan and just build off of that defense and run game. Even though the run game wasn't cooking too much, that defense is special. Like them, Michigan, and the Stallions, those 3 defenses are all elite, in my opinion.
I'm very interested to watch a Roughnecks rundown with my guy Ace this week. He was staring off into the distance after this game. This one in the group chat, it just about broke him. So I'll be
They was
interested
up
to see what he
12-3 in the
says.
fourth. Yeah, so they had it.
Interested to see what he has to say on Roughnecks rundown here on United Football Media, and then of course the Brahma bullpen from down there in the cow pasture. Excited to see those guys. What they think of the way this quarterback situation is developing, where this team may or may not be headed next. Where we are headed next, and all of you is into week 8, and there are some matchups that are don't seem interesting on the surface, but I think will tell us some things about some of these teams. Namely, we're kicking things off at 4:00 on May 18th, 4:00 Saturday on Fox. Memphis Showboats at the Michigan Panthers. Now, right on the surface, big power running squad, Michigan Panthers, great defense, Showboats on a free fall. You would think, automatic beatdown, but this is also the type of situation, we talk about what tier that the Panthers belong in. That top tier includes teams that take games like this and they handle business. Like there's no reason from anything that we've seen that this should not be at least a double-digit game, right? But sometimes teams who are in such a lopsided matchup, they get lackadaisical. They already got their playoff spot clinched. You know, reasons. So do the Panthers come in here and handle business and smack these dudes like you would expect to happen from a top tier team to a bottom tier team? Or do they kind of exhale and let the showboats hang around a little bit more than they should? I'm still going Panthers, but I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Axe, who are you going with?
I'm going with the Panthers by double digits. Seeing Memphis's O line and seeing how Michigan's defense plays, Michigan's going to have at least 5 sacks minimum. Like, I don't think it's going to be close. Double digit win. I like what I saw from Perkins as far as the dual threat ability. If they get Etling back, it'll be even worse of a game. They say Etling is week to week. So whoever they have back there at quarterback, I expect them to get off. I'm not really impressed with Memphis's defense after what I saw against Arlington. Yeah, like they're gonna get a lot of pressure on Memphis, and it'll be a double-digit win. Multiple turnovers. They're gonna force fumbles, get interceptions. What the Panthers do. Double-digit win by the Panthers.
Tay, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Just a better team. Just after the showboats last week, there's no way they win this game. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. They should definitely take care of business at home as well. They're a great home team too.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely going Panthers.
Oh boy, this next one. Houston Roughnecks at Birmingham Stallions. 8:00 Saturday night. Kind of the same story, although Birmingham has had no issue over this season cashing in on those bit when they should whoop butt. They do whoop butt. I will say that is one thing they have in common with their Alabama brethren right down there. They always cover. So yeah, I expect the Stallions to rock and roll over these Roughnecks. Axe.
Yeah, Stallions are going to do some unholy things to the Roughnecks. I expect Adrian Martinez go off. I expect the receiving core to go off. I'm expecting defense of the Stallions to force multiple turnovers. I'm expecting the double-digit win. Don't have to spend too much time discussing. I just feel like they're in another league than the Roughnecks, respectfully. I just feel like it's tiers and levels, and I don't think the Roughnecks can match the Stallions level. They're a well-coached team that executes every week. The only close game they had, really, outside of this week against the Stallions, it was like a lightning-delayed thunderstorm.
Yeah, against the DC.
Defenders. Yeah, like as long as the weather's good.
Only God could help them have a close game.
So yeah, I'm expecting a double-digit win. Like, hopefully Houston competes, but I'm expecting a blowout, respectively.
I mean, the biggest thing, mate, right? You got the best pass rush in the league against the worst pass protection in the league. They looked just god awful today against the Brahmas in pass pro, and the Stallions pass rush is on another level than anybody else in the league. So yeah, a lot of rough stuff could be happening there. Tay, tell me about it.
They really made this the night game. They got an 8:00 game. I can't believe it. Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Stallions. Stallions should definitely take care of business as they always do. It's not gonna look like the Roughnecks belong on the same field as them. So yeah, I'm going with Adrian Martinez. He should have another big game. Just solidify that MVP. Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Stallions.
Yeah, he's going to be running away with it if he does what I think he should do with the Roughnecks.
Do y'all feel like he's MVP even though he didn't play every game? And mind you, I know he's been cooking. I'm just saying, you see.
I mean, if he keeps going, I don't. Yeah,
yeah. He's third. Yes. He's third in passing yards, and he leads the league in rushing yards. Yes.
Yeah,
it's a good point. It's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Right now, he's 1 of 1. Interesting game, interesting kick. Sunday at noon Eastern. DC Defenders fighting for their lives. What a beautiful hill to die on. In the Dome against St. Louis. Gonna be gonna be maybe a little bit of revenge for last year. Looking to probably send the DC packing. Who knows who their quarterback's gonna be, as they had 2 get hurt this week. And I think the Battlehawks probably want to rebound and put a good foot forward after what happened with the Stallions. I know that they're salty for not being able to pull that one out. Yeah, I expect St. Louis to come with a lot of intensity against DC on Sunday, and this probably will be all she wrote for the defenders. What about you there, X?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's especially with Tiamu not being 100%. Like they have to go out there with McClendon. They don't have a chance against St. Louis, respectfully. Like St. Louis is going to be frustrated. I expect Harvey to make a lot of plays defensively. I expect Hakeem Butler to get off. Um, yeah, DC doesn't really have a great pass defense. Like that's been their issue. Like we've been saying for most of the season, they've been giving up 200-yard passers. Like they let a four-string quarterback carve them up this week. So I'm not really impressed with their pass defense. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
they had it would have been worse if Lewerke could have got the ball there. They had a guy wide open
oh yeah, the
on a broken
underthrow.
play that would have went to the house.
Yeah,
But like you said, it was an underthrow. Tay, what do you think, man? St. Louis is going to get back right. Going to put
Oh
their
yeah,
rivals away.
yeah. And it seems like we've been saying this. Like, are all these games about to be blowouts? Because I mean, I for sure have the Battlehawks. I don't see the Battlehawks losing 2 games in a row. It's too good of a team. And in DC, like we talked about, they lost quarterbacks and they just don't really play good football a lot of times. And like St. Louis is at home. They've got the best home field advantage. Like everything is just on St. Louis's side. So yeah, I'm going with the Battlehawks in this one.
Final game, and this is for real. Somebody fighting for their lives because it's in division. The mathematics. Arlington at San Antonio. Last stand at the Alamo once again, but it's going to be for the visiting team, not the home team. I, I'm tempted, but I can't. After the defensive performance that the Brahmas put on today, I just can't pick against them. I got to believe that Kevin Hogan's going to be a little bit better than Quentin Dermody, and all he really needs to do is be about 5% better, and this team is top tier. Love it for Arlington what happened, but I just don't think that they can pull it off in this situation, and they might get sent home. But, they might have the confidence rolling. Hogan might start struggling. Who knows? Tay, what do you think?
Um, you got a good point there about the Renegades. Like they're always in the games, but I'm going with San Antonio. Home teams are gonna sweep through this week. All the home teams are gonna win. I'm definitely going with San Antonio. Just despite the quarterback situation, like they still get it done. They still figure it out. Defense plays great every week. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with San Antonio.
Axe, I feel like this is the toughest game of the week to pick, man. What do you
it
think?
is. It is. And I think it's going to be a close game, actually.
Well,
Man.
it's because the Renegades game, other than last week.
So I think it'll be close. I really like what I saw from San Antonio's defense. It's hard to really pick against that. Man, it's tough. Like, I don't know. Arlington could be riding some good momentum because last week they only lost by a point. So it's not like they've been getting washed. San Antonio ain't the same San Antonio team under Garbers. I'm
I'm
really
just
stuck here,
saying.
man. Like, huh.
We gotta stop treating Arlington like they're 7-0 though. Like I get
Yeah.
the whole momentum thing. We gotta stop acting like they're 7-0. We do it
I'm
every
a
week.
roll with San Antonio because of defense. Like I like what I see for their defense so much. I think they're going to pull it out.
Tay said that's a dub.
Because they're like one of the record says it. They have the worst record. Like we act like they're 7-0 every week. They're not. They're just not that team.
There's a difference between them, Memphis, and Houston, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I had to put them. They have a better point differential than DC.
That's true.
Which is
I had
crazy.
to put them above. I had to put them above DC because DC is going to force me to watch that NATO violation offense for another freaking 3 weeks. I just want to gouge my eyes out.
I'm pulling up in person watching the Arlington. And I think Arlington going to win that one.
We might be there. Yes, yeah. The whole Team A crew may be there. So that's our picks. Check it out. Like I always say, nobody is doing it like United Football Media covering this league. We got pods on every single team. Check them out throughout the page. Tons of good, very talented content creators, and it's going to be a real interesting, spicy week for some of our best ones. So very excited to see that. Very excited to see what goes down in week 8. We will be back next Monday, back in better than ever. This has been United Football Media. Tell me about it.